And now, live from Pod Cabin in Burbank, California, it's the Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Allison welcomes a guest. He's a comedian and native Nevadan who is fond of saying home means Nevada, which is why he scored 0 on the verbal SAT. It's Damon Herzenberger. And she's a comedian and actress with a credit list a mile long, but the only thing she absolutely needs you to remember is that she 100% knows how to cook an egg. It's Mary Lynn Rajskub. Tone Zone is here to let President Biden know that he will not stand for a federal robe mandate that would force people to wear robes all the time and would respectfully remind the president that robes are not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution. I'm her husband, Daniel, saying hop on board Love Bus. Say hello to your best friend, Allison Rosen.
Allison Rosen. Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison with her the good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison Rosen, Allison's your new best friend.
Hello, my little carbohydrates. Welcome to another exciting episode of Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. For the first time so I started this show as a podcast in 2010. I think I introduced the Thursday show in 2012. And for the first time since 2012, I forgot to select a carbohydrate. I cannot believe I did this. Perhaps during the show, I will have a chance to consult Patreon and choose one, because thank you, Tony, a whole bunch of wonderful Patreon people sent them in. And it might be the excitement of having one of my real life friends on the show tonight. But anyway, I'm on Patreon. Bonus episodes of the patreon.com/Allison Rosen. Bonus episodes of the Friend Zone. I'm going to be recording with Jenna Kim Jones this week. She just had her third baby. We're going to hear all about that. Also a solo one coming up. Also, all the, when you subscribe to Patreon, you get all the back episodes too. There's just a fuck ton of content. Yeah. But also you can see this video right here. Watch my face when I realize I forgot to select a carbohydrate. And the backstory, that's where I go into details about the Monday episodes. And there's a level where you can text me and I'll text you back, Zoom parties, all sorts of fun stuff. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. Okay. And also you can submit carbs. And once every 9 years, I will forget to choose one. I cannot wait to introduce my guest, David Huntsberger. Hello.
Hello. I feel so flattered that you have one friend on the show, and it's not me.
Well, allow me to explain.
Sure.
Mary Lynn Rajskub, hello.
Hello.
Daniel Quantz, hello.
Hi, I just want to say, Dave, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Trust me.
Well, I didn't even call you my friend, and you're my husband. Daniel, did you sigh during the intro?
I made it too wordy. I could barely get through it. If I got through it, and I'm not sure I did, it's only because I've been reading a lot of Dr. Seuss books right before bed, and that's really
before Elliot's bed, not yours.
No, before mine. I like to, and so I'm, used to the wordy stuff, but
But I feel like I heard you go.
I was just disappointed in myself.
I feel like you nailed it. I think.
Listen, I've got a very, very high bar that I try to clear. Almost.
Okay. And Tony, hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be here as your best friend.
I see that I've insulted everyone, including all the Patreon people who sent in carbohydrates. This one, we're getting off on the wrong foot. Look,
I should actually add, it's your subtly handsome best friend.
Did that insult you or did that flatter you?
I don't know how I felt about it.
That was really sweet. That could have started. I just listened to that. That could have started as potential insult. Mm-hmm. But then it grew into exceptionally sweet.
See, it was a subtle compliment.
Because a couple of hot ladies were then over time, Thaxton. That's what you want. That's what you want.
And Tony, you should factor in that it's a married lady. She's only at liberty to say so much. Yep, so that's a pretty good starting point.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you. I will explain. Okay. Look, everyone has lodged a lodged a complaint. Allow me to work my way through them. Now, Dave, who is my real life friend, pointed out that I referred to Mary Lynn Rajskub as my real life friend, just completely glossing over the fact that Dave and I are also friends.
Well, that's an easy one to explain. It's because I'm an international superstar. So
Thank
it's kind
you.
of a bigger deal to have me as a friend, even though you're the more real friend. I'm more of like a fake friend because I'm always like jet setting.
It's true. We've been real life friends for months now, but we've only gotten real life coffee 3 times. But I mean, if you saw
that's a lot. That's a lot for adult ladies. But
Well,
yeah, we
also,
got to
you're
step it up.
being
Yeah.
friends with
Always
Allison.
jet setting.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, being friends with Allison's a little bit like a pyramid scheme in that you, in order to be considered a full friend, you have to have so many followers beneath you. Okay, and then you get so many of those, and so David, I'm sorry, you're just not.
Damn it.
You got to kick your
You're
friends
like
upstream.
You're in the queue.
I'm like a regional jet setter. That's something.
You went.
Where's the last place you jet set?
I was
Because I was in Stockton, California. I don't mean to be.
I was in Pasadena not long ago. Not as glamorous as Stockton, but I'm out there. I'm mixing it up.
I drove through Winnetka today. So
All right, I'm
Dave-
humbled. I stand over here.
Dave, you're a micro jet setter.
Yeah. I'll jet set all over the place.
Okay. So anyway, yes, it has become somewhat of a running joke, and it's true, that Mary Lynn Rajskub has become my real life friend because it spun off from the podcast. But when I think about it, Dave, your and my friendship also spun off from the podcast, but in a less dramatic way, because I feel like you and I, it's sort of organically, we became friends. We did, you did the show a lot. Whereas with Mary Lynn, she came on the show, we talked about being friends, and then boom, it happened. And then I like to,
it was like a first date. It was
Yes.
like it was almost like a cold call post the.
yes.
Oh, I
And,
like you. Let's hang out. It's kind of like that.
It
Yeah.
was just like that,
Yeah.
but on text. And then now I drop her name everywhere, and oh my God, the doors that open, Mary Lynn.
I bet. Yeah.
Okay, so, but I think that Mary Lynn has become friends with Tony a little bit, so I would like to know.
Okay, here's the
What's the
thing.
deal?
I followed him on Instagram. I haven't even looked at his Instagram.
Are you sure?
You'll never live it
We-
down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I scroll. I only stop at the dick pics. That was a bad joke.
Okay, so I feel we're all good on that front. Everyone's my friend. Mary Lynn's my international jet setting friend. She goes to Stockton and Winnetka.
I'm a
Now,
Jetta
Tony.
setting friend. Like I get everywhere in my Jetta regionally fast.
Can I tell you something real quick? My
Yes.
neighbor. Did you just say Jetta?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I went somewhere else, which is my neighbor. He really likes vehicles, and he always has like little drone things and remote control. Like he's an adult that likes vehicles. He's got a lot of cars. He has motorcycles. The other day, I saw him. He has an electronic. I guess it must be electric with a motor, like a very substantial. It's a unicycle. So it looks like a Segway.
Oh, I've seen that.
So you stand on either side and it has a headlight. It's very large. It goes like 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Cool as fuck.
I think it's called a one wheel. And I'm not a dude who likes vehicles, but I do know that a friend of mine really wants a one wheel, and I believe
How'd they
I
come up
could
with a name
not
for that?
believe what I was seeing. I was equally in awe and also like, what is wrong with you? Like, why?
So is a one wheel an attempt to like make a unicycle cool, like when Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is cool enough, is like we're KFC.
Well, I don't think unicycle when I look at it. I called it that after the fact. When you look at it, it looks
does-
like
okay.
a Segway, right? It looks like a little, you're just like, it almost feels like a skateboard or
It reminds me, if you'll recall the 1980s, probably into the early 90s, there were these things called pogo balls. They looked like the planet Saturn.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
you could jump on those and hop around. And then
Yes,
our classroom was just full of them. We'd come in from recess, put your pogo balls over there. And then now if it was a wheel instead of the ball, that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
So you bounce on the pogo ball?
Yeah.
Oh, I do remember that. Sort
yeah.
of.
You
But,
could,
like-
ideally, you could bounce so high you could grab the ball between your feet and kind of do like a little kick, and that was as good as it got.
Did you have one?
Yeah. I loved them. I thought they were the best.
Marilyn, so there's two things I'm thinking of. There's one that's like a board with a wheel in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And then there's one that's just a wheel with like two little pedals on the side, and you stand on that, and it like goes kind of between your legs, the wheel.
I'm gonna
So
look
it's a
up
larger
one wheel.
It
What
does
kind
go between his legs. But I don't know if it was pedals or flat.
Let me ask you this.
It
When you
was.
see-
It's like it's so messed up. I mean, he wears like gloves and a hat, but you're just standing, and it goes 35 miles an hour.
It's
Like
also
he has to balance.
I feel like the helmet for that needs like a little propeller on the top or something.
it also costs like between $1,000 and $2,000.
He said it was
It's an
$2,000, and it was just his
expensive toy.
birthday.
Does your respect for him go up or down when you see him on this hovercraft type thing?
I mean, it goes down, man.
I think
And you already
touched...
didn't have much for him, right?
No, he's very sweet. He also told me he's Russian. His parents live with him. I asked him like if he missed being there, even though he's been here for years. And he said, well, what did he say? There you have 5 women to 1 man. And here there's like not enough women.
Mm.
But I'm painting him the wrong light because he sort of is like gentle in a way. So it was surprising that he said that. Like he is soft spoken, and he helped me with my air conditioning. Because he does that too, but I didn't hire him. I don't think he wants to be like hireable or whatever. I just didn't do it till the last minute. But he came and was like looking at my guys, which was really sweet to make sure. And he's like, oh, they didn't do this. Like they left and they didn't do that. So he came and like kind of like fixed it up for me, because there's all kinds of like things with that the normal person wouldn't know. Like they should have replaced that wire. And
Do I
So,
sense a love connection?
Yeah.
Ooh.
He knows a lot about ducts, vehicles
Ooh,
and
la la.
ducts.
Yeah.
I want a love connection, but not with the electric unicorn guy.
This whole thing to
unicycle
me
guy.
seems so much like the gulf, the divide through like dating apps and things, because I'm imagining his profile would be, I like tech and gear and I'm a motorhead. And then really if you wrote his profile, it would say, I'm a gentleman who likes vehicles and knows a thing or two about ducts. So there's just, everyone's on way different
You're
planets.
so right. Because he is very knowledgeable. I'm very like, when he's on that thing, I'm like, you're meant, like if anyone is meant to do that, it's you. Like I know you're taking all the precautions. I know you take care of your vehicles. If anyone's going to spend $2,000 on that, it's you. Like, good job. But that's not for me.
No, you
Okay.
wouldn't. You don't imagine yourself piggybacked up there. Like it's not like a motorcycle, but yeah, you're a backpack on there, and he's keeping his balance, and it's impressive. You're like, oh, and he smells nice. Maybe it's a whole scene.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's my dream.
Speaking of attraction, that I've now made it even more weird. We need to get to Tony's complaint that he lodged. Okay, so on Monday, June Diane Raphael came on the show. And as everyone knows, I typically start the Monday shows. I say I'm very excited to introduce the guest, but first I need to chat with Tony. And then Tony and I catch up. Whatever's going on in his life comes up. Whatever insects or weird smells I found in my house are discussed. And then I feel bad that I've made the guest wait, and then we bring the guest in. So I asked June if she would like to play the part of Tony, and she did. But she wanted to know some things about Tony first, like a casting breakdown. And I was trying to remember sort of what's in a casting breakdown. So I described Tony as subtly handsome. And then I felt weird even discussing my producer in that, like I should have gone to personality, not looks. But then when Tony sent me the notes, he wrote, Tony is subtly handsome, question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. And then I worried, did I actually insult you? Did you take that as a compliment or an insult? Because I know that if I could imagine being like, hey, wait a minute, I'm America's hunk, like your email signature says or whatever.
Like if you were described as annoyingly pretty.
Me?
Yeah.
That is just a compliment because it's so annoying.
Yeah.
She's so pretty. But if someone was,
That's true.
but I think if someone was like,
is that what you want? Annoyingly handsome, like devastating, can't focus, so handsome.
Yeah, that's what I expected.
because I think if someone was like, yeah, like the more you're around her, you're like, oh, wait. She is a little bit attractive. I'd be like, wait a minute, what? That's
Right.
not
Does
what
it
we were saying
imply-
about you, though.
Does it imply that most people think he's ugly, but subtly, very subtly?
If certain people
really
get
pay
it.
attention.
That's not what I was implying. Anyway, Tony, yes, you speak. You may speak now.
No, well, first of all, just like it amused me, and so I had to call attention to it in the notes. It was really more of a just I got to put this in the notes just to kind of get a reaction out of you for saying that about me.
Okay.
It was I don't know. I think this is a compliment. It could go either way, but I think it was.
It was intended as a compliment. Now, Tony, you posted some photos from your shows that you played with Motion City Soundtrack.
Yes,
That
Mary Lynn
crowd was-
scrolled right past. Yes.
I saw there was a big crowd. I may have seen there was a big crowd that was super into you.
That was
I subtly looked at it.
a huge crowd. How
Yeah.
big was that crowd?
I mean, I can't say for sure because obviously there were people scattered around, because there's multiple stages and stuff. But
Give us a number.
I already forgotten what I heard the capacity of the whole thing was. I think it was around 40,000 or something like that for the entire festival.
Wow.
So that's for Riot Fest. So I
Yes.
was thinking, do you guys do, and I think you do, a breakdown where you're just playing a drum beat and people are yelling stuff? Because I was thinking over a breakdown, what if you were to plug my podcast? Have you thought of that?
I hadn't
Have you
thought of it,
considered it?
but I could certainly try. The problem is because I do have a microphone because I sing occasionally, but I feel like I maybe need to give our sound guy a nudge because drums are so loud. So if I'm not singing, he tends to sometimes just turn my mic off until he knows that I'm about to sing. So, I gotta find the right moment to sneak it in there because there's
Let him
definitely
know
been
that-
times I've said something and then realized my mic wasn't on. So
Let him know that you're going to do some plugs.
yeah, okay, I'll make it happen.
Okay.
We're not playing again until January, but yeah, we got time. We can see. There we go. Plenty of months to put this plan together and really lock it down.
Yes. Perfect. Although January will be here in a flash because there is someone who I'm going to book on the podcast and she and I had emailed about it. To me, it was 3 weeks ago. And I wanted to finish her book. It's Dory Shafrir. She wrote this book, Thanks for Waiting. And I wanted to finish her book before having her on. So I am now near the end of her book. So she co-hosts Forever 35, been on the show before. I'm like, hey, I'm nearing the end of your book. Let's find a time to have you on. And the last time we had emailed was July 27th, which it really feels like 3 weeks ago. Is anyone else experiencing time in a very strange way?
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody is. Yeah. That's how I felt. I felt like the Riot Fest that I just played, that felt so far away for so long. And then now that it's done, I can't believe it. So.
Yeah. All right. It is now time for a brand new segment, which is created around David Huntsberger, but I feel like we might get use out of it in the future. It is called, Tony, should I say it or should we just play it?
You're the host.
Not really tonight, but it's called Do You Remember This Dude?
Do you remember this dude? Do you remember this dude? Do you remember this dude? Do you remember this dude?
Oh, do ya?
Mary Lynn, you have met David Huntsberger before.
Yeah.
Do you remember this dude?
I don't know. I feel like we've have a lot of people in common.
Mm-hmm.
That we were at parties in the 90s.
Yeah, we were pogo balling.
We were
nonstop.
pogo balling. No, I don't know. SF Sketchfest?
No.
That feels like a no to me. This is perfect. This is why we do this.
Yeah. I'd like to think that I'll be on the end of the guessing at this at some point, and I won't remember someone. 'Cause I have gotten
You're
kind of
Tigataro.
at the- Yes, you would. When Tig and I lived together, you would be at our house from time to time.
What?
And yeah, and
I
then
don't
you did
remember
Professor
that. I
Blastoff.
don't remember ever being at her house, i.e. your house.
Yeah, we lived in Venice, and I remember. And then you did Professor Blastoff. You're on an episode of that we did, and I remember you talking about. I think your child was very new and crying, and you were like, "Yeah, I just like go in the other room and hide under a table and just kind of like hope the crying stops." And then I was like, "I love that. I thought that was so funny." And
Dang, you
earnest.
have a good memory.
Those are like the highlights.
I
Those are
don't
the only
remember
things
that Venice house at all. I remember her coming to me for something. She was interviewing me for something, but I vaguely remember
maybe
doing
that was
Professor Blastoff. But I don't remember
Yes.
you being, I mean,
I was behind the camera. I shot and edited that thing. I forgot. Yeah, we did that. I think you were at the house maybe once, but I do remember being. I don't remember your house though. I just remember
how the
what you're
tables
talking
have
about.
turned.
Yeah, they really have. We shot that thing where like you guys sat very close to each
Yes.
other. Yeah. And then and then maybe because I edited that. So then I was seeing you speak over and over and like go back a frame, go back a couple of frames more. So then you're an international
So
superstar.
relieved.
So it's
'Cause we
unfair...
never like bonded.
No, you weren't like, man, that's great
I
camera
just knew
work.
you as like a
Wouldn't have hurt.
touchstone, as
Yeah.
a reference point,
Yeah. As a reference point to
like Tig's
oh
world.
sure. Yeah. I can see that. Well,
Because honestly, I don't think I ever really listened to Professor Blastoff. Please forgive me.
no problem. But you were on it. I do feel like you were
And I
a
knew
guest.
of it.
Uh-huh. You were familiar with the concept of it.
And
you
I
were a
knew
guest.
of you for a long time, actually.
Oh, I like that Los Angeles has that, where you'll like meet someone and be like, I've heard your name a million times, but then you've never met that person.
And now it's to the point where I'm like on this podcast, I'm like just feeling it out, which happens a lot. I'm like, that's why this is such a good segment. Cause I'm just like, let me feel it out and see if I figure out how well we know each other. That's the point I'm at in my life. Cause I'm like, I don't know. And I don't care to, I mean, this is fun because it's focused, but like in real life, I'm just like, just let it ride. Let the chips fall where they may,
Yeah.
If it's not a blatant thing where you're having to meet someone and you're like, no, I'm telling you, otherwise, if it's a pretty cash setting, just let it. We'll find out.
Do you remember hearing these things as a kid? So I'm from Reno, which is not Hollywood. And I genuinely remember a person being like, Mel Gibson came through here a couple years ago. He was working on a movie and I escorted him through the crowd. He came back this year. He didn't even recognize me. And I remember being like 10 years old, like, why on earth would he? And so I'm always very sensitive to like, I was the camera guy there. Why would I be like, you should remember me? I was behind the camera. But it's hard to tell sometimes when we're like, no, we sat. There's another person who I won't name, but like every time someone goes, oh, do you guys know each other? We've genuinely had that conversation 20 times. And I go, yes, we've had a lot of time. No, I don't think I do. And that's frustrating. This is
Keep doing their
totally
voice
reasonable.
and we'll just figure out who it is.
Yeah. Because I thought maybe it was a woman, but the way that your
No,
voice
it's
went, it sounded like a dude.
I'll eliminate a percentage and tell you it was a male person. But that's all I'll say. I won't.
Okay. I like that you clarified that Reno is not Hollywood in case people are confused.
Well, they shot Pink Cadillac there with Clint Eastwood. I mean, it's basically Hollywood adjacent. So I just
listen. That segment actually turned out quite well, but for a moment it was awkward.
That's a good
What'd
segment.
You say?
Yeah, that was a good segment.
Thank you.
Sorry,
you.
I didn't interrupt.
Oh no, this is a show where we interrupt. Just do not feel bad. Anyway, though, for a moment, it seemed like it was going to get awkward there. And I thought I would like to take a trip away from here and I would like to use an away suitcase.
Oh, the queen's here.
The queen of segues has entered the chat. Also, I was listening back to something I did and I feel like I'm really yelling a lot lately. And I prefer my voice when it's like more of a this register versus the queen of segues has entered that register. So I just like to apologize to everyone for everything. And now about the away suitcase. I don't know if you guys know the away suitcase. They're amazing. I use them exclusively. I have the carry-on, I have the large, I have the medium, and the carry-on and the large I have in the polycarbonate fun colors. And then the medium I have in the durable nylon, which kind of expands a little bit. They have 360-degree spinner wheels. They really revolutionized suitcases. It's everything you want out of a suitcase. They have an internal compression system. They have an interior, a laundry bag that snaps in and out, and a great warranty. But away suitcases came up on the aforementioned June Diane Raphael episode because her Just Me or Everyone was when she travels, she doesn't immediately unpack her suitcase because she has a pink away suitcase and it looks so nice that she doesn't mind looking at it. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's like an objet. And then we just laughed a lot. But anyway, all of Away's suitcases are designed to last a lifetime with durable exteriors that can withstand even the roughest of baggage handlers. Also, there's a 100-day trial on everything Away makes. Take the product out on the road, live with it, travel with it, even get lost with it for 100 days. If you decide it's not for you, you can return any non-personalized item for a full refund during that period. No ifs, ands, or asterisks. Start your 100-day trial and shop the entire Away lineup of travel essentials, including their best-selling suitcases at awaytravel.com/Allison. That's awaytravel.com/Allison, awaytravel.com/Allison. Okay. Is anyone here besides Daniel and me watching that documentary? I forget where it is, but it's called LuLaRich.
Prime.
On Amazon Prime. It's about... Do you guys know that company LuLaRoe?
Mm-mm.
This is not what I expected, but you know what?
Is this like old-timey cigars? I'm LuLaRoe, and I endorse these cigars. I roll them myself, but I pretend I buy them from Cubans. That LuLaRoe?
No, but I wish.
Very
okay,
different.
so a handful of years ago, I noticed on Facebook and Instagram that tons of people that I went to high school with were selling leggings.
I was going to guess it was leggings because I think I saw a story about this, but I didn't see the doc.
Yes. Yeah. Selling leggings by this company, LuLaRoe, and they would have names like if we were part of the LuLaRoe Mary Lynn or LuLaRoe Allison, LuLaRoe David, although I think it's mostly just women selling them. And it is an MLM. So multi-level marketing scheme. What's the last word in multi-level marketing? Company? I don't know. But anyway, so there's now a documentary called LuLaRich. I think it's 4 parts. And Daniel and I have made it. I keep falling asleep, even though it's so good. But here's what I want to say about that. They have this scroll, like this thing that keeps showing up on screen where it's like their number of is it representatives, Daniel?
Retailers, they call them.
Number of retailers. So it starts, it's like, and it'll be like, ching, 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 3. So there's now 3 retailers who are selling these leggings. And they buy them for $10, sell them for $25. And then now it's like, how many are we up to now? Like 100,000 retailers or something?
Something like that.
Who did they hire to play their internal?
Katy Perry.
They hired Katy Perry to play. Like they had Tony, I'm sorry. They had more people at their party than Riot Fest. It's insane. But there's a couple things that are missing from it. One, now, Daniel, you've been able to stay awake longer than I have, but have they talked about how much money any of the individual retailers are making? A. And then B, they're saying you buy the leggings for $10, sell them for $25, but obviously, like, you got to kick your money up to the people above you. They haven't really gotten into that, have they?
Yeah, they have.
Oh.
This is
never mind.
This is the fun of watching shows with Allison, which is I watch the whole thing 2 or 3 times because you make it about 5 minutes per go. And I don't realize you're asleep until I'm way into it. You know, I want to get like one of those like dead man switches or something like this. Like hover your finger over it, and then when you fall asleep, it goes bing, and then I can like pause it and watch something else.
Oh, she sleeps like a little angel. She just drifts away onto a cloud.
The problem is that when she's watching, she's also like reading Twitter, and so she's propped in such a way that like her phone is down here and her eyes are down here, and it's like who can tell if she's awake, paying attention? Even when she's awake, she's not paying attention. What's the difference? So I'm here to recap shows for her.
Daniel, go ahead.
They get into it. They at first they start out like, okay, this is how much they can make, and you see the kind of the first retailers are making a lot of money because there's no competition, and then they sort of reveal that the real money to be made is in recruiting more retailers. That's kind of the pyramid scheme of it all. And one of them, who is one of the top sellers, says, well, I basically bought $70,000 in inventory and sold, you know, in the years that she was there, like maybe 80,000. Like, and then they have to pay for all their expenses and everything. And she's like, it was essentially a wash, the sales part of it, but they get monthly checks because they're getting kickbacks from each person that they sign up, and those people sign up people, and so it's this whole. It's a pyramid scheme.
Have you guys ever known people who've gotten sucked into MLMs?
No,
I don't think so.
My ex-husband.
For real?
Just for like a minute, because he owns like a fitness studio, and one of his clients gave him like the protein drink thing. But it was interesting because I would say for a good couple of weeks, he's like, we should try this. And it was like disgusting. But at the time I was like, I had no interest, because when someone else is like, I'm going to do this thing and you're not there. But eventually he sort of broke me down and I tried it. And I also on top of it, I was like, these are terrible. I think it was maybe bars and powder, but she had given him the whole sales pitch, you know, and then he brought it home, and I was like, I would just wait for this to fizzle out.
So did he actually buy into it though, and then try to sell it?
Yeah, but he only lasted like a month, and I think like maybe his mom bought some.
Got it.
And I wouldn't do it. And then I don't know if he got anybody else.
Get mom on the hook.
And then his energy sort of dissipated on it, you know, so he didn't go like super far. And I think I remember when I was younger, I just had a recovered memory. I think my dad sold Amway, but I was too young.
Oh,
I remember like the bottles and stuff, but I think by the time I was cognizant of it had already passed, but there was still the stuff left over. I'm sure like the piles of leggings that these ladies have in there.
There was a guy that... Oh, sorry. Go, Daniel.
No, you go, David.
There was a guy that my grandfather occasionally played golf with. He had his one guy he played with all the time, and they would have breakfast, and I would join them if I was in the area. And one day they were like, oh, yeah, so-and-so is going to play with us. And then just offhand, like, oh, is he still pursuing that lottery thing? And they're like, yeah, I don't know. And my grandfather wasn't really like tuned. He didn't care about it. But like, what is this? And they're like, oh, he's telling everyone around here he won the Brazilian lottery, but they haven't delivered it to him yet. He has to keep sending them money. So people here are starting to be like, I think that's a scam. You're a senior citizen. And I think And he was so stubborn. He was like, no, you guys don't know. None of you guys know. So we go play golf, and he's the type of dude who hits a putt. Mind you, he's like in his 80s, and the putt would be an inch or two short, and he would start yelling at the golf course. The course cheated me. This damn course. I hit a perfect shot. The damn ball didn't go in. So he's a pretty stubborn dude. And then a few months later, I played with them again. I go, what happened to that guy? And they're like, we haven't seen him. He was so embarrassed or he lost all his money. I don't know what happened, but I'm so fascinated.
That's the end of the story? We got to find out.
I know. I should track him down. I wish I had a more definitive, and he lost everything. But I mean, during the day when it did come up, and I wasn't pressing it too much, but he would go, no, it's not out of the question. My wife and I were in Brazil. I don't remember how many years ago. And I do buy lottery tickets. I'm pretty sure I just can't find the damn stub. And they're trying to help me find it, but I got to send them all this money. I was hearing this. It was like the woman in Requiem for a Dream who is convinced she's going to get what is on that show or something. He was just dead set it was going to work out. It was really hard to watch. It was a very sad thing to be a part of. So be careful pyramid schemes, everybody.
That was so well. I haven't seen Requiem for a Dream in many, many years, but that was so well done. The way by the end when she's, I don't think this is really a spoiler, but also it's a very old movie. But when she's sort of ranting and raving, you can both see how she comes across to someone who she doesn't know, but also understand the genesis of all of it.
Yeah.
That's a dark movie.
Yeah, I think about that from time to time, and I'm like, I should go back and watch that, but I'm like, I can't. It's so stressful. Yeah, it's so rough.
Yeah.
Exactly the same feeling.
Do you guys remember when I have this vague memory of back before the internet when scammy things would just come through the mail? Sometimes you would just get a letter, some random letter. And
I liked that. That was like a mom and pop con.
Yeah, and they'd be forwards. And wasn't there one where it's if you forward this to 10 people and then send $5 to the person who sent it to you, all those people do that to you, and then you know what I mean? Then there's
that
it was a pyramid scheme, but it was only
that is a pyramid. That's not like a pyramid scheme. That is a pyramid scheme.
Well, no, I think a proper pyramid scheme is I remember when I was in my 20s, some friends there was come over, some guy is presenting this thing, it's like a business opportunity, and it was essentially exactly like these MLMs, except there's no retail part of it. You're not selling anything. You're just I'm going to give $1,000, and then I've got to go recruit 5 people, and if they give $1,000 I get this much, and then when they recruit 5 people I get a piece of that, and it just flows up. But of course, anyone who's taken math realizes that at a certain point, you've reached the population of LA. I don't know how you're going to come up with that many people.
There's a documentary there's another one. I forgot what it's called, Supper Club or something like that. And it's ladies. And it gets to the point, as you were talking, I was remembering that and also thinking that humans, what is it about humans that we can just get locked into that? And with these ladies, it really was they would have stacks of money, and that you could see their energy shifted, because they'd be I'm going to the dinner party tonight, and then one person would be the special guest of the party, and they would get a pile of money, but it was contingent. And that exact thing, what you just described, happened, that it expanded, and then it started eating each other, because you just explained it, and now I can't explain it, because they run out of, the chain can only go so far.
That's what happens with the MLMs.
One person's ripping the other person off. But
that's podcasts in LA.
We're in one right now.
Right.
I know. Who's going to be the special guest? That is nuts. I got to see this other documentary.
I remember what that's called. Supper clubs.
Yeah, I remember shortly after graduating college, I received a call from a girl that I was friends of friends in college. And it was the weirdest phone call, because it was weird that she was calling me in the first place, because I didn't really know her, but I was still sort of, happy to hear from her. But then she talked to me about, the whole thing was so vague. It was a business opportunity and like, am I a go-getter or do I have initiation? What's the word? Do I have initiative and drive and all this stuff? But she never said what the actual business was. And I didn't, I feel like people are sort of conversant with MLMs at this point, but back then, I didn't know anything about it. But I remember feeling like it felt like there was some guy there with like a gun to her head making her have this really urgent phone call. That's how I always understood it. Like, I bet that her leader person was there. But now that I think about it, I doubt it. I doubt there was another human being pushing her on it. It was probably more like she had spent all this money to get involved in this thing and she just felt nervous about it. I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. Every now and then it pops into my head. I hope she's okay. I also forget her name.
I mean, I think that it's like they have a gun to their head because there's such a high commitment in the beginning, and then there's this requirement to keep sales up. So these MLMs, you have to buy $5,000 in merch, to get involved. Which
that's what this dinner club was too. You have to give an initial amount.
Yeah, and there's that sort of sunk cost thing where it's like, all right, I've already lost $5,000, I got to make it back, and then I think you have to like make a certain amount in sales every month. But if the market's saturated, now you're just putting your own money and buying your own merchandise just to keep up in order to make it back. And it's just this like perpetually losing.
I think the psychology of humanity or of humans is really played upon really well there. In that, like, when people hear the word entrepreneur, every person probably the first time they heard that thought like, oh, yeah. And inevitably it just invariably sounds like, well, that person's got their shit together. They're not, maybe I am.
It means like no boss.
But I think it's just genetic. Like my friend Jeff in like second grade sold candy out of his locker. He was always just hustling. He just is born an entrepreneur. But like the same way they lure in like QAnon people with kind of like, you do the research. You're an entrepreneur. Just sell 5,000.
Yeah.
You thought of this. This is you. And then people are laying there in bed being like, fuck, I don't have anyone else. Oh, Allison. And then they just call, hey, haven't heard from you in 15 years. What's up? Want to, that was their genius entrepreneur move. Like, oh,
she was an English major. Yeah.
You will likely first get involved in local pyramid club when a friend, neighbor, or coworker invites you to attend an opportunity meeting to learn how to earn lots of money. You'll sit through a well-rehearsed presentation that downplays the traditional methods of acquiring money and will offer instead an exciting shortcut to wealth, fame, and adventure.
I think everyone wants to crack the code,
Yeah.
Like everyone wants that. Everyone believes there's a secret that other people know. And when someone tells you that they have the secret, they're going to share it with you because you're special. It's very seductive. Like, oh, I'm going to, everyone else is working hard and they have a boss they hate and everything, but I'm going to get that like secret way of making a ton of money.
I think that's the show. There's something seductive about show business that's very similar to that too. And because most of the people, many people I know at this point have who are entertainers have gotten to the point where they're like, things that I do, not international superstar Mary Lynn Rajskub, who gets cast in a lot of things because she's amazing.
I have a comment on that. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, and probably getting called every day from old acquaintances who are selling cups that can't be destroyed and boot removers that never get mud on them.
Can't get destroyed.
Knives that can cut through pennies.
Yeah.
But I think many of us have gotten to the point where it's like, I have to create the opportunities for myself in this industry. But when we started, I am saying we, but I'm talking about myself. There's this notion that like, I'm going to be discovered any second. And then like, I deep down think that I'm truly special. And then, what I fantasize about, that'll become my reality. And it was just because I got discovered or this one thing launched me or whatever, and it's usually, that's that thing of like, that's sort of the get rich quick, get famous quick scheme idea.
I mean, I'm going to say exactly what you just said. And I do think that's across the board, but I'm going to say like just another layer of it, which is I'm still dismantling and actually kind of COVID helped. I think I've been getting out of it for a long time, but just this feeling of, I have all these leggings under my bed. No, this feeling of waiting for the next big thing. Like I just have to get, and it's like, all right, I did that. What's next? And I think you're absolutely right. And I don't know if it's a time thing or it's just a mentality that you realize you have to do it yourself, and things are just like that now more than ever. But you reminded me of something else when you said that I'm special, which is, that's like a double, like in some ways you should feel special because everybody's unique and that's like normal that you want to feel special. But I used to, have a friend who would counsel me about like when I would complain about my reps or if something was going on with like a job or whatever, or like, you know, the inevitable, like I'm going to fire them. And we would just be like breaking it down. And he's the one who said to me, he's like, they should make you feel like you're special. Like if they're talking to you in a way where that makes you feel like you're like everybody else. Like, so there's this weird, like false thing that you need to keep that relationship going, where it's like, I do want to feel like your only client. I do want to feel that if you're trying to get something for me or you're representing me, that you're like, no, she's not just another person. Like this has to be at the right circumstances or like a special thing, or I'm going to push in this way.
Right. Because they're in the business of like selling you. You're their leggings. So
and hearing it from him, I was like, oh, I never thought about it that way. Like that's their job, is to make you feel special.
The first agent I had, and this was his like pitch. He goes, you know, I heard this story about this bartender in the Yukon, and all these hunters would go up there, and some of them would come, they would leave with these like prized pelts and furs and things. And year after year, they'd ask the bartender, like, why are you always just here serving drinks? You could be out there making a fortune, either mining for gold or coming back with these pelts. And he was like, the bartender goes, yeah, I see you guys come every year, month after month, looking for wealth, fame, and fortune. But I'm just here slow and steady the whole time, making a profit from all of you guys. That was his pitch to me, which is just like, you're transferable. You're nothing. You're just currency. There's going to be another one of bragging. You. But I kind of liked it. I was like, I mean, it helped me understand the commodity aspect because they make you feel special. And if you gave them like a detailed thing of like, I like David Lynch, or I want to be weird in this way. And then they'd be like, okay, look, this offer's on the table for this Verizon ad. You're dressed up as a bumblebee. You get urinated on. Yes or no? You're like, give me a minute. No, it's yes or no right now. This is all you're going to get. You mean nothing to me. Those are like the things you have to really put up with and pretend they don't exist. It sucks.
Man, after a day of being a bumblebee.
Here she comes.
The queen bee.
The queen bee. I bet you could enjoy a nice glass of wine, especially a Cabernet Sauvignon. Daniel, what was the other one we were just talking about?
The other one? It was a brand of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Was it Torino?
Triana.
I think Triana? Triana. That I knew I was going to mess it up, but Triana is the one that you were saying that you love. Look, clearly, as indicated by what I just said, I am no wine expert. But I know what I like. Daniel knows. Daniel's a little more of an expert. He knows what he likes.
Oh, yeah.
And we love trying new varieties, wines the local stores don't carry. Mm-hmm. And that is why I love Vivino. You guys have heard me talk about Vivino before. It's the world's biggest online wine marketplace. They're also the largest online wine community with 50 million users who have rated and reviewed just about every wine. Wasn't it the one you were just talking about where you were saying that it's in the top 1% of all wines?
Hell yeah, it is. Among the top 1% in the world.
I love that. It's like when you go to the pediatrician and they give you a percentile, but this time it's wine. It's your wine percentile. Vivino could not be more comprehensive. It is a wine encyclopedia. It's a really great resource. And they carry all your favorites. They suggest exciting, personalized recommendations, wines that perhaps you never even knew existed. Then you'll know even more about what you like thanks to Vivino. Their app is amazing. Like I said, you can see all the ratings and reviews. You can leave your own. And of course, you can buy wine. You can scan a bottle when you're shopping in a store and see what Vivino's users say about it. I've really stepped up my wine game thanks to Vivino. Give them a try, and I know you're going to love it. Go to vivino.com/bestfriend and use code bestfriend at checkout to save 20% on your first order of up to $200. That's vivino.com, vivino.com/bestfriend. Code bestfriend to save 20% on your first order of up to $200. Vivino.com/bestfriend, code bestfriend. See site for details. Terms apply. I also want to talk to you guys about Gainful. There's nothing more personal than your health. So when it comes to finding the right protein powder to meet your fitness goals, you need a personalized approach. Thankfully, there's now Gainful, the personalized nutrition system that formulates proteins for your body and goals. Gainful gives you peace of mind that your protein contains the finest ingredients specifically for you. So I took a quiz earlier. You guys know, I love a quiz. This goes into your goals, your diet, your exercise habits, like what you're looking for out of a protein drink, protein powder. Daniel, what else did it have? Oh, like the kind of exercise that you do. A lot of detailed stuff about your habits. So you start by taking the 5-minute Gainful quiz. Gainful supports your whole body health, individual fitness goals, and ever-evolving needs. Gainful personalized protein is formulated with simple and effective ingredients that work to achieve a wide range of fitness goals, from weight loss to muscle building. And then my favorite part, because I love options, you choose the flavors that you want. So it arrives unflavored, so you can switch back and forth between 8 delicious flavor boosts like chocolate peanut butter, Madagascar vanilla, or strawberry cream. And it blows my mind that someone doesn't just choose this off the bat, the variety pack. So I chose vanilla and variety pack because I can't say no to options in a variety pack. Start your personalized fitness journey today with Gainful. To get $20 off your personalized protein, go to gainful.com/bestfriend. That's Gainful, GAINFUL.com/bestfriend for $20 off. Gainful, personalized nutrition made for your taste. Okay, let's say hello and welcome to our new Patreon people.
Allison wants to say thank you to a couple of special people out there who signed up to be new patrons. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen.
I would like to say hello and thank you and welcome to Chris Arneson. Chris signed up at one level, and then he went up to another level, and then he went up to another level and opted for the annual subscription. Chris is now at the level where he can text me. He has not done so yet. So I think I need to send him a message on Patreon and say, here's the number for all this. But I like when that is someone who shows initiative. So Chris Arneson, hello, welcome. I hope you are enjoying all of this. I neglected to mention earlier, if you sign up for an annual subscription, you get 2 months free. So that's 12 months deal for the price of 10. Okay. We occasionally like to do iTunes comments of the week. If you like what you're hearing, leave us a nice comment on Apple Podcasts. And Daniel has a couple to read.
Allison wants your iTunes comments. Allison wants them, yes she does. Please leave her some iTunes comments and don't forget to click 5 stars.
Love the show. Well, this is cut off what you sent me. So it says, love the show and the ... What could it be?
Ooh, I don't know.
By Jane Redondo Beach. Thank for being my new best friend, Allison. Absolutely love the pod. I've been a listener since the very beginning, and I think it's super cool how the show has grown over the years. My favorites are Gal Chat and Snack Chat, but I love it all. Thanks for doing what you do. Oh, and your fam is so cute.
Thank you, Jane Redondo Beach. That's very nice. But on the other hand...
Too much fart talk from Jen Money. Not entertaining unless you enjoy hearing audio of animal farts and 30 minutes of nonstop fart talk. Do better, Allison.
Tee. I mean, I do. David, you were there for the animal fart segment.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, right?
I'm surprised it didn't come back for this episode. I thought it was entrenched as a canon element of the show.
Yeah. It's like one of Carson's famous bits.
Yeah.
Guess the animal fart.
Oh, that guy's name was similar to Carson's character, Chris Arneson. He could hold envelopes to his head. I'm Chris Arneson, and what are the Pope, a pinochle, and ribeye steak.
Where else are you going to hear a snake farting?
Yeah.
Right. I didn't. Wait, Dave, were you saying you're surprised that we didn't do that on this show again?
Yeah, I was being kind of tongue in cheek. I didn't think it would come back, but
I mean, it did feel, but you're right. It did feel like I felt like we're doing important work here. By the way, everyone here has a dog. I've never heard a dog fart. I thought that dogs just have silent but deadlies, but I took a poll on Twitter and 60-something% of people have heard dogs fart. Do your dogs have audible farts?
Yeah, we all blew your mind last week when you did this or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, did we have this exact conversation?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool, great. Well, Mary Lynn, does Leo fart loudly?
Oh my gosh, thank you for knowing Leo's name.
You're welcome.
I don't think I've ever heard an audible one from him. I've smelled it.
Glasses on?
I don't know. I just was holding them and then I put them on.
Oh, man, you really Clark Kented us.
I don't like to wear them. Well, I don't. You know what? I don't wear them when I do stand up, just because I never have. And then I try not to wear them because you can see the ring light.
Oh, yes. Sometimes I can see my therapist's ring light. I haven't in a while though, which makes me wonder. She must have.
Is it a necessary tool, or is it viewed as like a vanity object, and you don't want people to know you use it?
Oh, I think it's a necessary tool. I just feel weird that I don't know.
It's come back.
Distracting or something.
Looks like you have cool laser eyes.
Just go with it, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're like, enter the new world. We all have reflective ring lights. Big whoop.
Yeah. Electric eyes.
Dave, is your stand-up coming out really soon?
It is this Friday, which would be September 24th. Hell yeah!
Your album?
And I have an album that's been streaming for the last week, but there's a visual element of it. And you guys were talking about time at the beginning. I mean, we shot it in January of 2020, so that feels 50 years ago. And then it took me forever to work on it, and finished it I think May or June. That feels 25 years ago. So it's hard for me to comprehend or get my mind around all the different emotions and the periods of it, of working on it and editing and all this stuff. But it's going to be on Amazon and Vimeo and YouTube. And it also ties into what we were talking about of having to just sort of work within the structure of things and not be a part of a pyramid scheme. All the people who were the gatekeepers that said no to me at late night shows and festivals 10 or 15 years ago now all run the gates at the biggest streaming platforms. So it's the same people saying no to me who've really in a weird way molded my career, and it kind of forced me to do it a different way. And I was sending out the Kickstarter rewards and stuff today, and just looking at how many people I recognize their names and or friends of mine or people I've seen at shows over the years, it feels nice. You get that every week with your podcast listeners, but it's just the world has changed so much that way. It feels great.
And now, are you saying the name now or no? Yeah.
It's called Big Nothingness. You can, and as you hear this, you can go to davidhuntsberger.com and pre-order it on Vimeo. It'll be for free on YouTube as well. And I think there'll be some ads, but if you want to watch it without ads, then you can pre-order it on Vimeo. And then at some point it'll be on Amazon. I don't know when, but it's in the queue there also.
That's exciting.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thanks
congrats.
a lot. Thanks. Yeah. It feels really nice to be, I guess, done with it. I'll believe it when it's actually out. It is. I don't know if you guys have ever had something like that where you're being pregnant, you're is this ever going to end? It's probably the closest I'll ever get to that emotional feeling. It just feels like it's been forever.
This is the show that you were working for. People who listen to this podcast, this is the one where you ended up getting a haircut finally for it.
Yeah. And
Right?
long-haired me as a character in it, and short-haired me as a character in it. So you can see my luscious long hair in action in it.
Those luscious locks. I haven't seen them in so long.
I know. When I was editing, I was like, man, they really were. I wasted them. I mean, Tony's backstage with all these rockers. Probably a few of them have hair, and it's might not have been as cool as mine was, and I just wasted it. I just walked around and said, no, go ahead. I didn't like burst my way to the front of the line. Look at the hair, bro.
And Mary Lynn, you have a comedy special on Vimeo as well, right?
I do. You know what? It's been taken off of Vimeo because I'm going to release it through Comedy Dynamics. So they're going to like redo whatever they need to do to it, and then they'll release it on all platforms for me.
All right. Well, we'll talk about it then.
Yes,
Can
please.
I tell you a joke of yours that I think you were working on around this time where we were best friends and hanging out all the time?
Yeah.
That I
totally remember that guy.
You did this bit about like wanting to be hot. Like, I just want to be like really hot. And it ties into Tony's like subtly handsome. It's such a funny bit. I loved it. I think it's so great.
My gosh. That's like an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
So funny. So she did not want to be subtly handsome. She wanted to be like, stop traffic.
Oh yeah, because the buildup is like, I forgot, but like I make it sound like I want, I don't want to be like I'm going to say smart or thoughtful, and I'm just like I just want to be hot, like white hot, kind of girl that knows she's hot but doesn't know much else, and then it goes into like a whole act out where she's like at a hockey game and she's just like wearing heels and like, I love dancing. And you're like, it's a hockey game. You're at a hockey game. Why are you wearing 8-inch heels? Oh, I miss her.
Do you guys want to do some Just Me or Everyone?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
Okay. Segment where people write in with things they think or do, and they wonder, is it just me or everyone?
By the way,
And
Mary Lynn, do you remember me? I
Tony, play it again.
saw you. Yeah, play the theme song again.
Do you remember this? Do you remember this? Do you remember this? Do you remember this?
Do ya?
I used to go to Largo Monday nights in the mid-90s. Isn't that exciting? Ooh.
Wow.
And I used to watch you play. There's like a huge lineup of a bunch of incredibly talented folk, and you'd go up.
Yeah.
Remember that?
You remember me from that?
Yeah, girl. Those were the days.
Quants.
Who else was it, Daniel?
Oh my God. I mean, I remember
Paul F. Tompkins.
Sarah.
Grantley Phillips. I used to do
You were the intro on Bob and David.
Yes. I
Tom
was
Kinney would
the mascot.
MC.
Bob and David. It was Tom and David.
I love Grantley Phillips, Grantley Buffalo.
We did like a variety show at the old Largo.
Yeah.
It was so
I didn't
weird.
know that.
And he played Huell Hauser, and I played an alien. But at the beginning of the show, we pretended to be like waiters and wait. It was so like we just dug into like our like silliest urges. We were just like, hey, we just somehow have a dialogue back and forth in the audience, and then we went up and like, we're gonna do a show for you. It was like really weird.
Oh, I love him. I have thought of reaching out to him so many times to have him on the show. He's one of those that I keep thinking about.
I'm sure he would.
Yeah, I think he would. I just haven't made it happen. Okay. Jarioki, Jofin and Chief, excuse me, I have mangled your name. Arrested Development, the band, has forever ruined the word Tennessee for me. Every time I hear it, I reply in a deep voice, and then he does the like Arrested Development Tennessee, hashtag teen of the 90s.
Oh man, big time. And a person named Wendell, forget it.
Yeah, I will. I actually will kind of do that. Maybe not every time, but
Right.
it definitely will happen a lot. Yeah.
But
I think-
I wouldn't say ruined because it just brightens you up.
Yeah, it just adds to it.
Yeah, it's great.
Right. Daniel, I think that you've probably ruined Old Town State Park next right for a lot of people.
They took the sign down.
Oh no.
So there's
Because
a
of
road.
you?
Probably they were getting too many people singing the song as they drove past it. Old Town State Park, next right, next right. It's so sad, but for the longest, it was great because people would tweet photos of it as they were driving down the freeway in San Diego. They'd take a picture of that sign. The story for people who don't know is when I was on a road trip with my dad when I was like 13. There was that sign that said Old Town State Park next right, and I sang it over and over to try to drive him crazy. I was trying to get him to tell me to stop, and he knew that I was trying to get him to say stop, so he wouldn't say stop. And I sang that fucking thing over and over until we got to Yuma. and he won because his soul
no
was
one
deader
won.
than mine. What?
No one won though.
Well, no one won in the end. Truly, our relationship was never the same after that.
It's interesting because if he had just if he had just asked you to stop, would you have stopped?
Yes, because he would have caved, and I would have won.
What do you
So if
think?
he had given any indication that it was bothering him, it would have been a victory, and he knew that, and he was not going to give me anything.
Yeah, I just imagine a different world in which you guys both could have walked away from that transaction having won. You could have felt like you won, and he could have had
Classic
silence.
win-win.
Yeah, this is a lose-lose.
Nope. There was no win-win in this, I don't think.
That sounds awful. Okay, Ray Morgan says, I mean, not that you don't have a beautiful voice, honey, but still. Ray Morgan says, while pumping gas, wonder if I'll ever fuck up and try the diesel pump. I think it won't fit in, but I'm trying to think of, no, I guess I've never had that thought.
I used to have that, but it went away.
I have been in like the opposite experience on tour in Europe before. We weren't in a bus, we were in like one of those Sprinter vans, and our tour manager was like told our drivers like I'll fill up the tank, and it actually was diesel, but he put in
and it let it go in?
Yeah. And then
What happened?
Well, then like our driver like realized what he was doing, and we were like, oh shit. And then we were in Italy, I remember, and they had to, I think they talked to somebody working there and like had to get somebody to come and like siphon out the gas.
You can just light it on fire and run.
If you even with that engine just tried to start it and got it up into like the combustion chambers, it would like really be bad news. So you have to just basically deal with a paperweight of a vehicle until it gets siphoned out. So
What made it even better was out of like now, touring fairly heavily for like 20 years, basically, literally one show in my life, we ever play that we got heckled and booed and stuff. And
It was that one.
it was the show we had just left, opening for Blink-182 in Italy. The crowd just hated us there. It just didn't want anything to do with us. They only cared about Blink. And so we like even left the show kind of early. We're like, let's just get the fuck out of here. And then we stop, and our tour manager puts the wrong kind of gas into the van. And then so we're stuck there, and then it's like a rest area, and then all the kids that were at the show start showing up at the thing. But we kind of just hid.
That's so weird that you guys got heckled.
I think they
Because
just
it's not like they had a magician open for them or something. Like you're a band that's sort of in a similar vein.
it was
Yeah.
weird because literally like it was like a 2-week tour or something, and every other night was fantastic. But like, this particular night they did not want. And by the way, our keyboard player got hit with dough.
That's so Italian.
I know,
No
right?
offense.
How do you know they were heckling you, though? They're speaking. Italians
because-
can be very, passionate. They were throwing dough. They're like, here's some of our delicious pasta. Hey,
Catch it.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the Sprinter van for a second? Why is it so tall? Your HVAC boyfriend would know. Why is it so tall and narrow? Like, what's going on up there? It seems very top heavy to me.
I don't know
I don't know why I'm asking you guys.
I
What?
don't like them, though. I found them
No.
very uncomfortable for some reason.
I don't think I've ever been in one. Just seen them on the road, and I've thought that looks like it could tip over.
You know who had a lot of those? Were the Orthodox Jews that lived in our old neighborhood.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, they had a lot of those vans, and I always wondered what.
You don't
What are
have
they
to
doing?
bend over. And if you're wearing hats,
Oh,
get
for
in
the
there. You
hats.
can stand. It's great. A lot of space.
Your curls can spread out.
Yeah.
But there's not two levels, right? It's just
No.
so maybe it really is that you don't have to bend.
I literally have heard lots of people be like, you can stand up in them. I'm like, okay, it's a moving car. Am I really going to be standing up in there a lot?
Yeah. Yeah, who needs to stand up when they're
Well, there's
whatever.
a bathroom. Is there a bathroom in there?
No. It's just like a normal sized van that's taller.
There's
okay.
There's
I'm
a bathroom
overthinking it.
anywhere if you really put your mind to it.
True.
Maybe try.
I think where you gain the most, beyond the standing and wearing all the hats you want, is the back. If you're storing all of your equipment and gear, goes up so much higher, so
Yeah.
you can store quite a bit of crap in there. It's deceptive, like how much you can stack up in the very back of them. Maybe that's the allure.
Yeah.
Oh, Tony, your recent show on Friday, the one for which you missed my June Diane Raphael interview and she had to be you played two shows in the same day. How
Yeah.
did that go?
Exhausting. I still today, I got home late last night. I feel like I'm like barely functioning today. I'm like really out of it. It took a lot out of me because like our schedule Friday was, we played the festival at 6. We played from 6 to 7. At 7:30, a van picked us up to take us to the other venue.
Wow.
And then we sound checked at 9 and played at 11:15, I think, and played like another hour plus there. And yeah, it was exhausting. It was fun.
Was there
but
coffee, 5-hour energy, anything?
no, see, I was walking
Protein
that
bar?
line of like, I don't like, I didn't want to do anything too much caffeine or anything, and then just like be up all night after all that. So I just kind of, my key was to when we first got to the second show, I was sitting down backstage for a bit, and then I just was like, I need to stand up, and I just kind of I was just pacing around the dressing room basically to just try and like have energy and not just want to go to sleep. Yeah. But it was fun. Thankfully the club shows are really fun, and it was packed in there and people were excited. So it kind of like once you get out there and start playing, then you just kind of feed off of that. So
Did it feel safe?
yeah, because I think everything, including Riot Fest, like you had to be vaccinated or negative test to even get in. So
Did anybody throw dough at you?
there was no dough, unfortunately.
What about cookies, cooked dough?
There was cookie dough, yes, plenty, too much cookie dough.
Tony and I have talked about how much we enjoyed when we were doing that brief period where we were doing in person. And Tony said that driving over here, he felt like his life had purpose again. However, with the way you've been talking about how much fun you had on tour, I feel like your life has purpose again, unrelated to my show. But back, if it comes up again where you need purpose from my show. So I keep going back and forth. Like, is it, right now, I'm going to make a point. I know it feels like I'm like throwing a dough of words at everyone, but I'm going to tease out a point. Here I go. Right now, California has the lowest COVID rate of all the states, according to an alert I got on my phone. And I keep thinking, is it safe? Maybe we could go back to in person. But I don't know that I'm maybe just not yet. The vaccine has been approved for kids 5 to 16.
Oh yeah, I just saw that a little bit ago. Yeah.
And according to our guest, Emily Oster, the vaccine for 6 months to age 5 should be approved like a month after. So I think once the kids get vaccinated, then it should be then we could go back to in person. Dave, what do you think? I know that we we joke that you do a segment called Dave's Bad News because you have a grim view of everything.
But then I
general.
switched because I think we were getting a little too focused on what's the latest bad news. And, there were, the low rate, the fact that we're fully open basically and dealing with the level of cases that we're at, I feel pretty optimistic. I mean, I know we just have this looming thing over like, what is the Delta variant going to do, or Mu, or whatever the next one is that maybe is resistant to antibodies. So far there hasn't been anything to make it seem like it's going to run rampant. And I feel the kids, which is insane that the people that are the most like, what about the children, are like, get our kids in school. They don't have to wear masks. Let's see them smile. And then you just have like 250,000 kids in a week testing positive nationally, and just like, they'll sniffle it off. They'll get over it. It's only X% that doesn't do well. That's insane to treat a child's life as a percent. So yeah, I agree with you. I think once we can kind of secure that the kids are going to be better off being exposed and playing together and stuff, that feels great. So hopefully that is the case.
All right. Positive outcome from the producer and host of Dave's Bad News carries a lot of weight. And I know you mentioned trying to rebrand, but to me, you'll always be Dave's Bad News. Okay.
That's fair.
Chode to Joy says, whenever I buy stuff with cash and get change, I think, quote, this dollar bill has been in someone's ass. This $20 was used for cocaine. This grimy penny from 1986 has seen some shit. Maybe literally, just me or everyone. I think I should be more aware of how many hands money has touched, but I don't normally think about it.
Yeah, same. I think she's not wrong. That is more of a correct way to think, but I spend a lot of time, and I do this with a lot of things where I'm like, I can't think about that. I won't.
I can't remember, but I heard something about how currency actually banks it gets destroyed a lot quicker than you might realize.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I never knew that.
Like the bills are not generally out there for very long, or at least as long as you might think they are.
But sometimes they have notes on them.
Yeah, but I mean,
I have in my life never written a note on a piece of money. Have you guys?
Oh yeah.
Like what?
Do you remember there was a thing where it was like a website where you could log in the money's like serial number, and then people would do that, and you could see who else had your money. I think it was where'sgeorge.com or something like that. I should see if that's still on there. But not enough people did it for obvious reasons.
Yeah, because that means you write down a serial number before you spend your money.
This was like in the late 90s. This is in the old internet. I think if they were to do it now, you just scan it, so it'd be a lot easier. Someone should do that because you could then track the money. Is kind of fun to see.
You know how people light up if you're like, oh, there's this little town. It's up toward the mountains. Right before you get there, there's a little cafe. I've been there. We love the idea of a shared, like, I touched that dollar too.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Really? That's so nice.
It's sort of like a currency version of like checking out a library book in the library card back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, there's something about the life of an object. And do you ever think about things you've owned that you give away or whatever, and you think like, where are they now? Is it in a landfill? This thing that you bought that was new, is it in someone's home in like, Corona, or is it, like my old car? Where is that thing now? Do you still have that connection to it?
Oh yeah, the lifespan of things that you think are so valuable to you from like a sentimental point. Like if you inherited a screwdriver or a toolbox from a great grandfather, you're like, well, these are mine now. And then you don't realize that screwdriver might be around for like 1,000 years.
Right.
Its future is dying in a fire, but that's 10 generations or something beyond you. That's so weird.
Yeah. Like I have a fantasy of someone showing me photographs of where like my first car is right now. Or, like it's like smashed and it's between a couple cars and something, or it's now just a bunch of, I don't know. It'll never happen though. Maybe when I die.
Just me or everyone. I never think about this kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. No, I mean, not about objects.
I think,
People.
I mean, aren't you, for me, the larger thing is like millennials and every generation beyond that, rise of things like non-fungible tokens, of their fundamental understanding, like the world is going to be digital, it's going to be fake, nothing is real. Secondhand stores all full of everyone's antiques, and that was my grandmother's. And they're like, yeah, it just takes up space. I live in a shoebox. I can't have that. It means it's just a thing. It meant a lot to you. It means nothing to me. And suddenly all these things that we're taught, we learn that this has value. This was your so-and-so's. People are starting to be like, yeah, it doesn't. Everything's fake. It's just going to be a JPEG in the future. Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean,
throw away.
Something I have noticed is furniture is usually so expensive and it loses all value like the second it leaves the store. Because you can go on Craigslist or wherever and see so much, Facebook, so much furniture that's been used for much more affordable prices.
Art, like
does not
collected
retain its
art,
value.
is it called a provenance? Is that what it's called? Where if you sell it, it has to be registered. So like Sotheby's would like double check it and, going back to the very beginning, oh, this was painted by so-and-so and then this Duke owned it. And then this wealthy person, then it was donated to this gallery. Then it was in a private collection and it would track that. That could be interesting if you had a table, even if you just went below it and wrote Allison and Daniel and the kids. And then down the road, people would be like, oh, crazy. It would be like the library card. You would just look at it and be like, look how many families have had this table.
That would be cool.
There was a pretty good movie called The Red Violin that was sort of about that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you remember.
I have not seen
It is called a provenance, by the way.
I just realized that on Facebook, which I hate, I've never really spent any time looking up anybody from my past because I just don't care. But if there was a Facebook for all the things that I've owned, I would totally do that. I'd be like, oh, what is my old like wrench set doing right now? And it's like, or whatever.
Yeah.
Someone should invent that. I don't know.
You had a wrench set?
Well, I was just using David's example.
Okay, I know. I'm just curious what things of yours you're actually curious about.
Everything.
I was trying to remember what I wore in middle school. I mean, because my son is wears a uniform now, but I couldn't. I was like, did I wear jeans and a t-shirt? Like I couldn't remember like my vibe. But then the one outfit I could remember that was like a special outfit was purple leggings and a white button-down shirt, but it was like long. And then I had a string of beads, like small, like Indian beads. And I thought I was like Edie Brickell. I wanted to be Edie Brickell.
That sounds super cool.
And moccasins. Like it's not a good outfit, but I was like, I'm really putting something out there. But I can't remember what I wore the rest of the time at all.
Leggings and oversized top. That got me through years of high school. Sometimes actual stirrup leggings. Did yours have stirrups?
Not those, but I did have one pair of stirrups. Yeah. That seemed like a real commitment. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm wearing stirrup.
That's right. My feet are layered right now.
Yeah. Did you wear straight up leg warmers?
I had some, but I never wore them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You?
It was that kind of item. I think same. I couldn't ever commit to it.
What about a jaunty hat?
No, I never was a hat person. Oh no. Oh my God. This is so embarrassing. I went through a phase where I wore a bicycle hat. Those little ones with like the...
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wait, what is it? Wait, what's a bicycle hat?
It's not even like a real hat. It's just like a skull thing and it has like a flap.
Yeah.
The most useless flap ever. Like, why even bother?
Oh my
with
God.
that?
I don't even know where I got that from. That was like I just uncovered a memory. I feel really
I'm sorry.
ashamed right now.
Maybe like someone. Oh, Wesley
Need
Snipes
aftercare.
wears it in White Men Can't Jump. He had one of those weird hats.
I think I know
I
what you
think maybe
mean.
the Beastie Boys for a period had that hat in the mix or something.
God, why?
I gotta look up bicycle hat.
Yeah, I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you. Like what?
Oh.
Terrible.
That's fun.
Terrible.
That's fun.
Did you ever have
fun.
this happen? I had this hat that I wore a lot in high school, and it might have only been 1 year, but it was new when I got it. I was really excited. I liked it. And then one day looking at it was really beautiful, dark, deep black. And one day looking at it months later, and it had no color in it. It was just fabric. It was just the color of like natural linen maybe. And I remember being like, well, that can't be. Like, I just didn't fundamentally understand that, like, things wear out, things get old. The sun, every day that I wore this was just beating it to death. It was a really weird, it's such a dumb thing to learn in life, but to be like, oh, I too will one day be you, hat. The sun is doing the same to me. How unfortunate. It was such a bummer.
This is why I hate the sun. It bleaches hats.
Yeah.
It saps energy. It melts cassette tapes. Does all the bad things. You guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you. Thank you for being on this show. Mary Lynn, where can we find you? Is there anything you'd like to plug, etc.?
At Mary Lynn Rajskub on all my socials, just keep it rolling.
Perfect.
Got stand up, I got stuff, different things,
Sometimes you're in Stockton.
Sometimes I'm in Stockton. That was a Comic-Con.
How was it?
It was really fun. I shouldn't say this because it's off brand, because I'm saying I'm an international superstar worth millions. I did not make my guarantee.
Ooh, you want me to get in the mix? Nudge it out of them?
Oh, yeah. They had to, yeah. I had to sign like a bunch for them to sell later to try to make up the money that I lost. But I will say it was Stockton and everyone was like, don't use this as a gauge. But as a con, it was really nice. There was like a lot of artists there and, it was a lot of people were dressed up. And primarily the people that were doing like signings were wrestlers.
Oh, cool.
And then there was like the guy who played the Ewok in Star Wars and stuff like that. So it wasn't really like actors on shows. So I had a great time. And like the people that were like excited to see me, it was really nice. You feel good about it. But then I was like, boy, like I did not have a steady flow that I needed to have.
Well, it was Stockton. And it's a pandemic.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
I had a good time. I was happy to be there. I hung out with Kate Flannery, my old friend.
Oh,
Kate.
she's great.
And she did really well because the whole, the office was pretty wall to wall for her. So that was good.
This is off topic, but slightly relevant in that, and maybe Jordan Morris can verify this for you, Allison. When he used to do stuff for Fuel TV, I would sometimes get hired to run the boom mic. And one time they called me like day of, like, can you be at Adult Con or whatever it's called? So we go and there's all these booths where porn stars are signing stuff. And there's like a video screen behind them of their work. And so you have to go up and
really?
It was nuts. But the ecosystem is so unpredictable. It was like if I showed up to the con you were at, I'd be like, oh my God, there's Mary Lynn, not this wrestler. And then, everyone's different.
Right.
But the porn ecosystem, what I gathered was the older, the longer the line. Someone was like a legend. So there'd be a woman there that was like in her 60s, like a pioneer, line around the whole space. And that was, I don't know, just kind of interesting to me. I don't know what I expected.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
We had one lady, it was a couple. I really like that, like the older porn star. But we had one lady who she was shaking at me and Kate Flannery, and her husband, he was like he was there for the wrestlers, but he didn't want to stand in line. And she was like, I can't believe you guys are here. And that was like really funny because it was like flipped because she was like, all right, drag me to this like wrestling where you want to get,
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't interested in the wrestlers.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, it's a strange dynamic going on in those places. It's really interesting. I feel like overwhelmingly sweet, right? Like
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you mentioned porn and Jordan Morris, so I have such a rare occasion that I can play this, so I feel like I have to.
Put that skin in my mouth.
Dave, what about you? Where might we find you?
DavidHuntsberger.com, as always. And there's links to, if you're on any sort of social media and want to see what I'm up to. It's mostly being not very active, but there are links to it there. But DavidHuntsberger.com, and you can find your way to big nothingness. Just check it out if you're even remotely interested, and I'd appreciate it. And then I'd like to give a little plug to Nathan Smith, who you remember last time when I was like, oh, if you're a web person. And
yeah.
Nathan does webdesignbynate.com. So he just was very sweet and like, hey, I'll help you. And I was like, let me look into this guy. And he had virtually exactly what I was looking for. Like, I can design your whole site, and or I can go through and like charge you by the hour, or I can just kind of like, you can pick my brain. And so I did that. I was just kind of like, hey, here's what I'm doing. I'm a little confused at this. And he'd be like, well, check this and check this. And then I mostly worked through it on my own. And there's still one thing I was kind of, not certain about. And he made a little video. He like, hey, Dave, like, here's what you want to go do. Look for this thing. So I really appreciate the help from Nate. And
Oh, shit. Really? That's so nice.
But web design by Nate, if you're looking for some web help, he was really, really great. And I feel like my website's now functional. If I know I plugged it a bunch on this show previously and wasn't particularly stunning, but I think now it's a pretty cool website. So you can get links to it there. I hope you like Big Nothingness. I really put as much effort as I can put into anything into it. I think it turned out well. I like it. I hope you do too.
Well, I can't wait to check it out. Daniel, what about you?
Well, if you want to be your own boss, reach out to me at Daniel Quantz, Twitter and Instagram, and you can be a retailer for Quantz bars.
Quantz.
And, call your own shots.
I just want to make money at home.
Create your own hours.
Yes.
Be a she-EO or a he-EO.
What about just a CEO?
Nope. I'm the CEO. Sorry.
Tony, what about you?
Twitter and Instagram at
Tony Thaxton.
and Bizarre Albums every Tuesday. And say thanks to anybody listening that was in Chicago this past weekend. And also, I'll be back in like a month, but this time with Don't Stop or We'll Die. And all that information's on my Twitter and Instagram if you need that. So come back and see us, see me with a different band. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and if you're a Don't Stop or We'll Die fan, we just had, or even if you're not, we just had Paul Rust and Michael Cassidy of Don't Stop on the Thursday show, and that was super fun. So check out that one too if you missed that one. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Allison Rosen. I mentioned that I'm on Patreon. If you like what you're hearing, leave us a nice comment, tell your friends, etc. Thank you guys again. Listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Yeah, Allison Rosen